We're talking about the markets. We're going to look over everything. We're going to look over really what's going on today in the economy, in the United States economy following the war and all of these different things. So with that being said, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and let's get right into it. So the market's still looking pretty good today, and ultimately I wanted to show all of these markets. The fear and greed index is finally moving back up, so people are fearing less. People are fearing less. They're feeling a little bit better about investing into crypto, investing in the markets, and really doing that, making a difference in their lives. Crypto is going to be huge, I think. I think there's really no way around it. It's undeniable that there's going to be some big things happening with all of it when it comes to crypto, right? So you have to be living in the future, as I like to say, and you got to be willing to follow the trends, adapt, and endure, right? How do you handle the unpredictable twists of fate? Bitcoin's at Bitcoin's at $69,151. Ethereum is at $2,021. Binance is at $636. XRP is at $1.36. So we're a little bit down, but again, when you look at the entire market, it looks like crypto is still in a position to succeed. Again, the fear and greed index is going up. So people are fearing the markets a little bit less than they were. Last week we were at 15, and then last month we were at 9, like a low of 9. The yearly low has been 5. So, people are getting back into the markets. And I do think crypto is going to be the overall winner over everything, right? We look at crypto, we talk about oil, we talk about finance, we talk about real estate, talk about stock markets, we talk about all these different markets, but the truth is nothing's really growing quite like crypto. Okay, that's the real thing here. And again, when we look at gold prices are down today, $5,124.70 for gold. Silver is $85. Platinum is $2,177.70, and palladium is at $1,686.30. Platinum and palladium are up today as well. Okay. And then mortgage rates today, March 9th, 2026, showed to be at 6.15. Mortgage rates are up from Friday and remain under 7%. Today's national average on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 6.15, according to the bank rate. If you choose a 15-year fixed-rate mortgage, the average rate is about 5.53%. Mortgage rates have been relatively low in recent weeks, even briefly dropping below 6% for the first time since September 2022, according to Freddie Mac. However, it's unclear that they'll remain this low or drop further this year as inflation concerns and labor market worries pull rates in opposite directions. Also, with the war, with the Iran war, who knows what's going to happen with that. On Friday, the Labor Department reported that the U.S. economy lost 92,000 jobs last month, while the unemployment rate ticked up slightly, 4.4%. Bad news for the economy is often good news for mortgage rates as investors flock to safer assets like U.S. Treasuries and mortgage-backed securities, pushing down rates. But inflation remains somewhat elevated as investors appear to be concerned that the war in Iran could raise prices further. This could keep mortgage rates from dropping or even driving them back up. So this is what things are looking like with the mortgage rates today when we're really playing the game of trying to figure out what's happening with the markets, okay? So, again, as a real estate agent, I give you the mortgage rates because, hey, listen, I need to make money too, right? You want to work with me in real estate, shoot me a DM. Let's talk about your situation. Let's talk about where you're at. Let's talk about where your business is in real estate, where I can help you the most in real estate, right? So when we look at the futures markets, it looks like the crude oil is up. Crude oil is at $100. And again, crude oil just reached $110 yesterday. I almost forgot to mention this. $110. So this war is happening. And the war is pushing up the prices of oil, obviously. And now it's creating this impact, as we can see. Looks like the Brent last day financial futures are up. And the New York Harbor ULSD is up. Okay, so for the energy markets are looking bright green, a green candle for today at least. So that was really what I wanted to talk about. There was videos I wanted to cover here and talking about a lot of this. So let's take a look. This is from Bloomberg. Again, if you guys are tuning in, be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. Welcome to the market update. Welcome to the Brendan Ecker Influence, where we talk about oil. We're talking about the $100, $110 oil prices and how that's affecting the market today because of Iran. And we're also talking about a little bit of the news on X, which we'll be covering next. So kick back, relax, and enjoy the show. Again, this is Bloomberg News that we're going to comment on.
It's 5 a.m. in New York City, 9 a.m. in London. Good morning. I'm Julie Fine in for Bonnie Quinn with your Bloomberg brief.
Again, we're just going to listen to a little bit of the market update. We're not going to watch the whole 43 minutes.
Let's get you set up for the day. Global bonds sell off, stocks dive on inflation fears. An oil shock, crude spikes to about $100 a barrel for the first time since 2022. And Iran names a new supreme leader. And for some stocks to... And let's check on our markets right now with Morwenna.
About to look into the market updates here. So yeah, again, Chevron's looking good at $192.80. ExxonMobil's looking good at $153.36. All these companies are looking pretty good.
Good morning.
Today,
so starting with oil majors in the U.S., obviously this is probably the only sector or one of the few sectors that are going to benefit out of the events that we're seeing across the Middle East, the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, and some of the Gulf producers, including Bahrain, Kuwait, the UAE, saying that they're going to halt production or stop the supply through the Strait of Hormuz, is sending...
and they said that they want to give most of the supply to China.
Oil majors in the U.S., but certainly in Europe as well, higher. So we're seeing the likes of Chevron, Exxon are going up quite a bit this morning. This is as Brent crude obviously edges closer to $120 a barrel. It's paired some of those gains from earlier, but still
oil markets
quite
are
a
the
bit
ones winning.
up. Moving to NVIDIA. Now, this is another stock, Julie, that is not doing well. I mean, one of the probably...
we have to remember, NVIDIA and all these different stocks are down. Why? Well, you have to understand how these AI companies, Peter Thiel just sold a ton of his Palantir shares. And then Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA, also sold some of his shares of NVIDIA. So here's why we have a lot of this
stocks across the S&P are probably not going to be doing well this morning. The futures picture does not look good aside from oil, as we mentioned. But NVIDIA possibly the biggest drag on S&P this morning, down over 2.6%. But moving to...
So that's what's happening with the S&P 500. I also wanted to touch on this video a little bit as well, where we'll talk about the oil prices, kind of how that more connects to this market.
Good morning. It is Monday, March the 9th. Here's what's on your agenda. Oil rips higher, sending stocks and bonds tumbling as Iran keeps its leadership in the family.
Well, Tom, it's set to be a truly hideous day in these markets. We woke up to oil flirting with $120 a barrel. Brent now at 108. We had a report from the Financial Times that G7 finance ministers will be discussing the release.
Yeah, so again, as an entrepreneur, what can I say from all of this? During war, it's not a bad idea to invest in oil. Not a bad idea to invest in the very thing that is the reason we can mass produce and mass manufacture missiles, anti-missile systems, weapons, ammunition. This is how you make profit during a recession. If you got money still, if you haven't been shaken out of the market yet, then you ought to be investing in oil.
Of joint oil reserves, so oil pairing some of those earlier gains, but still up 16%. We've already seen stocks battered in the Asian session. Euro Stoxx 50 futures down 2.5%, and we're risk off as we head towards the Wall Street session as well.
Oh, the whole market's going to take it.
The Bloomberg Dollar Spot Index is higher, but you're seeing gold and treasuries selling off. The countdown to the opening trade.
Why is that? Why are gold and treasuries selling off? Why is that? Why do you think? You think it's because they're building the new financial infrastructure? So all these things are happening as we're looking at the news today, as we're looking at the markets, and, you know, we're really trying to figure out what's actually happening. What's going on? Okay, why are we being told that, you know, everything today in the market has to do with, oh, this, and that, when it's like, really, it's about, you know, it's not really about religion. It's not really about prophecy. It's about profit. And that's what I think a lot of people forget when it comes to these times. So breaking U.S. oil prices extend their reversal, now dropping below $100 barrel and up just 9% on the day. It's from the Kobesi letter. We are witnessing one of the biggest daily crude oil reversals in history. And this was today. So this is what's kind of happening in the markets with oil. And I also wanted to play this video because we're talking about the Clarity Act. All of these things connect, right? All of these things that are happening in the markets. We're talking about oil. We're talking about the Iran war. We're talking about how obviously we shouldn't be involved in it because economically it's not going to be great for America on the other end of it. But if we win, then it could be. If we win this war with Iran, then obviously this will help our economy. But with that being said, how are we going to win? Well, it's going to have to require some financial, a brand new system, a new infrastructure. And with that being said, the United States government is creating a new financial infrastructure. And what are they using? Well, some of you might think it's Bitcoin, but it's not. It's actually XRP, and let me explain why. This video just went viral over the weekend. This is the CEO of the company Ripple XRP, Brad Garlinghouse, if you didn't know. And he's making statements in this video responding to the Epstein files that were released, basically talking about how the company Ripple and XLM were targeted in the Epstein files, how they were basically, from the very beginning, seen as a threat to Bitcoin. So let's take a listen to this. What do you guys think about this video? This is crazy. Ultimately, it's like, what do you guys think is going to happen with XRP, with Ripple, and all of it? But I see a lot of potential. So
it's interesting because Chris always was a little conspiratorial about this stuff, and now that we have seen the public Epstein files, you're like, holy shit, he's kind of right. And now what's interesting about it, they were afraid of us. They were afraid of us.
And he's talking about Epstein because it says it in the Epstein files. We're going to go and read those exact files right after this.
The technology was ahead of its time, and it was a threat. And they were trying to do things to, put pressure on it. And again, I don't think I totally appreciated in the earliest days how prescient some of Chris's concerns were about that stuff. But in retrospect, it was real.
Yeah, and that was when Chris Larson was basically warning Brad Garlinghouse of these Epstein files. Let's look into this real quick. Epstein files, Ripple, we'll just put. And we'll see what pops up. It should pop right up. Yeah, right here. So here's the email that was in the Epstein files that concerned, this is basically what this is what Brad Garlinghouse was talking about. So this was an email to Jeffrey Epstein, and this was from Austin Hill. This was sent Thursday, July 31st, 2014 at 8:56. And the subject was, Stellar isn't Stellar. He's talking about Stellar Lumens, XLM, okay, which is very close to the company Ripple. They basically coincide. They work hand in hand. Hi, guys. We obviously have seen Stellar.com or Stellar.org. I'm not sure about the relationship with Jed. I'm not sure about what the relationship with Jed McCaleb, and the team are. I know obviously some of the players, but this is a problem for us. Would one of you please give me a call at blank? I can explain some of these issues, but basically I've been asked by the other co-founders to reduce or take your allocation away. Ripple and Jed's new Stellar are bad for the ecosystem we are building, and it does our company damage to have investors who are backing two horses in the same race. Happy to discuss a fair way to deal with this. Best, Austin. So, again, the Epstein files, we basically know now that Bitcoin was always this thing that was being cooked up by Epstein and his cronies, right? And that Ripple and XLM, the company XLM with Chris Larson and Jed McCaleb, well, these were a problem for Bitcoin because these were interoperable and totally functional. Right? And you hear more about these emails in here. Okay, all of these different things. So why was XRP targeted? Why was the company Ripple targeted? I don't understand, right? That doesn't make sense. Well, that only makes sense if you understand that the new financial currency is going to likely end up being XRP. All of these things are going to happen. So this is kind of where I see things going, right? So we're seeing a lot on XRP specifically. We have a lot of Bitcoin maxis and XRP maxis. I'm all about the entire crypto space. The entire crypto space needs to grow. We need all of the freedom for this industry. The SEC tried suing Ripple for years and they lost. And XRP won because they went up against them. They did what they needed to do. They took the heat. So that's kind of what's happening with the company Ripple XRP. Wanted to also cover what was going on in the Iran war today, and we'll give you that last little market update. Talked about oil. We talked about a lot of the XRP and the news happening with that. And then I also wanted to talk about the U.S. and Israelis and how they attacked Iran, continuing to attack Iran. Israel appears to be getting hit hard, and Israel appears to be getting a lot of flack, a lot of damage. So let's take a look at this. This is from Bold Theory, kind of documenting what the damage. This is in Iran yesterday. This kind of happened this was the U.S. military and Israeli strikes on the Iranians. This was following Iran's large attacks on Israel. Look at that mushroom cloud. That's huge. It's crazy. But that's what's happening right now. You want to know why the markets are going crazy? You want to know why oil's going crazy? This is probably why. That's insane. This could be our homeland. Like, what if this was America, you know? Will our leaders do this to us? It's kind of what I wonder, right? So this is what's happening in Iran. So much news. I mean, this is a crazy war. Lots of crazy things going on. Clarity Act delay could hurt U.S. banks. Banks risk falling behind in financial innovation. Former chairman in the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission, Chris Giancarlo says global competitors are moving faster. The stalled Clarity Act has created regulatory uncertainty. Banks retain cautious about deploying capital into crypto infrastructure. General counsels are warning about the legal risk. So yeah, now they're saying that, oh yeah, we have all these problems with the Clarity Act and that this might not work for this reason and that reason. It's like they're just trying to hold things up, right? This only benefits the banks to hold things up. The longer they hold it up, the longer that they don't sign the Clarity Act, the longer that it will ever really take for any of these prices to go up in crypto, because there needs to be regulatory clarity, obviously. And so you have these Scott Bessents and a lot of these Elizabeth Warren types who are really trying to kill crypto and trying to benefit from it themselves. So according to DD Geopolitics, the U.S. has started attacking Iranian oil tankers in the Persian Gulf. So again, this is why I'm saying you need to pay attention to oil. This is why oil is spiking above $110 per barrel, right? This is why the entire market's going insane with oil right now. Okay, so lots of things happening with the war. Open source intelligence tracked an E6 Mercury departing tanker, Air Force Base, and heading towards the Persian Gulf. The E6 Mercury is primarily airborne, perform for nuclear command, control, and communications. Often called a doomsday plane, it is designed to ensure the United States can maintain communication with its nuclear forces, especially submarines and ICBMs, even if the ground bases are destroyed. But the key question remains, why was this aircraft being deployed towards the Persian Gulf, and what mission could it be supporting right now? Something worth watching closely. So again, it shows the doomsday plane flying in the air there. Meanwhile, U.S.-Israeli strikes hit Iranian warship off the coast of Bandar Lenge, Iran. Again, we got U.S. troops. The 82nd Airborne Division of the United States has been put on high alert for operations in Iran. It comes from the Washington Post. And so there's our U.S. troops going to fight and die for the state of Israel, for another country. And there's our country. We're doing it again. Another war, uncalled for. More Iran, more Afghanistan, more Iraq. Not good, not good. Iran warns oil could hit $200 a barrel if neighbors fail to restrain Trump. If you can tolerate oil at more than $200 per barrel, continue this game, said a Revolutionary Guard spokesman. So here's his quote. So let's go back and read this. It is expected that the governments of the Muslim countries will swiftly warn the criminal countries, the United States, and savage Zionist regime against such cowardly anti-human actions, so that the flames and the fire, otherwise similar actions will occur in the region. And if you can tolerate oil prices above $200 per barrel, continue the game. And so there's what they had to say about that. 2 hours ago, someone opened a 5x leveraged short on crude oil. Now G7 countries are considering releasing 400 million barrels of crude oil reserves. Oil is down $105 on the news. Our whale is up $1 million plus. Insider trading or just coincidence? Seeing a lot of this, right? Are you staying ahead of the markets? Are you staying updated on the things that are going on? Okay, pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. We are in World War III. Here's what Trump had to say about it. This was just yesterday. Trump made these statements, so let's take a listen to this.
The Navy is now...
What about the Strait of Hormuz? There's no traffic really going through it right now.
Well, that's, the ship's choices, but We haven't cleaned out. We've wiped out their Navy. Their Navy is now at the bottom of the sea. So that's the choice. This is an excursion. We figured oil prices would go up, which they will. They'll also come down. They'll come down very fast, and we will have gotten rid of a major cancer on the face of the earth. We will have taken out a
So what do you guys think about the war with Iran? Are you guys for the war with Iran or not?
cancer. Don't forget October 7th. Don't forget all of the things that have happened.
More October 7th rhetoric. Who else is sick of hearing about that?
What we're doing is a great thing, not only for our country and not only for Israel, not only for the Middle
Who cares about Israel? I care about America first, dude. I care about America first. Can we talk about America first, maybe? That's kind of more what you should be caring about, Trump. Extremely unconstitutional and illegal in America. Florida is far from being a free state like many. DeSantis actually went to Israel to sign anti-Semitism laws for Florida. Any attempt to impose or enforce this kind of tyranny should be swiftly exposed. So I wanted to play this real quick as well. This is a big problem in America.
Israel. Florida is building a secret police under HB 945 that creates a counterintelligence unit to spy on, neutralize, and arrest you for views and opinions that go against the state and or the United States interests. Where is our biggest interest right now? Israel. This is a secret police for your posts online, your opinions about Israel.
That's what Twitter X is. Absolutely, man. Yep.
Your opinions
people
that go
are getting
against the
banned.
state. Where is our free speech?
Not so
This
free.
is Bill HB
Gotta use it.
945. Look it up. This is real.
And that is the state of the United States. That's called censorship, people. That is called censorship. Traffic through the Strait of Hormuz has ground to a visual halt, unleashing the most severe energy crisis since 1970s and threatening the global economy, per the Wall Street Journal. So that is the big fight. That's the big news for today. Brent crude oil surges 18% to $110 in the last 10 minutes of trading. That was 17 hours ago. Okay, so yesterday crude oil was booming. So this is kind of what's happening in the markets in terms of the business. It's all really about oil today. It's all about oil. It's all about crypto, the Clarity Act, and all these different things. We're going to be covering some of these other stories later. We'll talk about the Epstein files more. We're going to talk about the boots on ground in Iran. We're going to talk about some of the things happening with Israel, the attacks on Israel, and how they're taking hits. Tune in tonight, 7 p.m. at Ecker Geopolitics. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about all of these stories. Yeah, AI started its own ecosystem. That's crazy. Look at this. Anthropic's Claude AI. Anthropic's Claude AI has surpassed 100 days in project, autonomously growing tomato plants from seed to fruit. This system, which manages water, light, and temperature in real time, designs its own circuits, and even extends to hardware, is unprecedented demonstration of AI simultaneously performing life, maintenance, and self-evolution. So take a look at this. This is crazy, guys. This is wild.
We asked the question, can AI grow a living organism? The answer is yes.
And this is what AI is doing. This is the capabilities of AI. Pretty crazy. So it's creating tomatoes. The AI is creating like a whole ecosystem here. And this is all from Claude AI, just hooked up to a computer. Think about that. That's insane.
Because once AI can sustain environments for living organisms, what else can it do?
Right. What else can it do?
Building a living factory. One that doesn't just grow plants, but it designs exactly what it needs when it needs it.
Yep.
It builds what it designs and integrates new capabilities.
Yeah.
And behind me here is the seed for the living factory concept, where multiple agents coordinate to design PCBs.
It's wild.
Which can be rapidly manufactured on
One computer is doing all of this.
mill behind me.
Insane. That is evolution. That is innovation.
That can extend themselves physically. 4 research pods in one grow room, all coordinating autonomously.
Scary stuff.
Optimizing and testing.
Crazy, right? And we'll stop it there just so I don't get any copyright strikes from YouTube because of the music. Hopefully that doesn't affect us here. But with that being said, what do you guys think about everything going on in the markets today? China says it's ready to restore order, tranquility, and peace to the Middle East. China state media and officials reported Wang Yi's remarks where he emphasized China's role as a sincere friend and strategic partner to Middle Eastern countries. The full phrasing from official sources is along the lines of China stands ready to work with the Middle Eastern countries to implement a global security initiative to restore to the Middle East, restore tranquility to the people, and restore peace to the world. Major countries should act in spirit of justice and righteousness. China stands ready to restore order, tranquility, and peace to the Middle East. Yeah, well, they just want the oil. We have to understand that China benefits from the Strait of Hormuz because they get like a large chunk of oil from the Strait of Hormuz. If America were to dominate the Strait of Hormuz and we were to throw a few aircraft carriers on some of these islands, we would then control about 20% of the entire world's oil supply coming through that little channel. So if we're talking America first, then, it works for us if we can win. But if we don't win, then we're going to be screwed and we're going to get hit really hard by a lot of this. Thought this was interesting. To wrap up this show, I wanted to cover some of these stories. Many viewers on the internet are left stunned after learning that the laminin, which is the protein that holds up human cells together, looking very familiar to the crucifix. Pretty crazy, right? Maybe everything is, maybe we truly are just born to be Christians, right? Who knows? Who knows? Born to be Catholics, whatever you want to call it. Iran has about 900,000 of these decoys from China. The U.S. is using $1 million missiles to destroy them and claim victory. That's crazy. So actually, what's interesting enough is that Iran's buying these blow-up tanks, these blow-up helicopters, these fake helicopters that they're sitting out there, and the U.S. military's dropping bombs on them because these things show up on thermal flare, right? So our U.S. military's bombing these blow-up things. That's crazy. So we were actually doing this in World War II, and Hitler was doing this in World War II. Very similar kind of tactics here, and really just to waste and to destroy the ammunition of the United States. Very interesting. At the gates of Ben Gurion International Airport tonight, simple act of filming and sharing this video is an act of rebellion undertaken by Israeli citizens who are exposing themselves to a prison sentence. 70% of Americans and 80% of Israelis disapprove of this war. So again, this is footage from Israel. Yeah, they're taking a lot of fire over in Israel right now. A lot of fire, a lot of bombing happening in Iran, happening to U.S. bases. But this is an unprovoked war. America started this war. We got ourselves involved in this war with Iran. Ultimately, now we have to win because this is going to be an all-front war. This is going to be, and now Trump, did you hear that? Trump is apparently talking about, doing a draft. He wants people to do a draft pick. Pretty crazy. U.S. Senate Democrats say they are ready to pass the crypto market structure legislation, the Clarity Act. So this is also happening. So the Democrats are finally now getting on board with signing the Clarity Act, and all of that is going on. Iranian journalist reports in the front of the flames of a burning oil depot. Breaking, someone just opened a $7.28 million oil short position. That happened yesterday. A lot of these stories are from yesterday. Breaking news, Israel took a massive amount of damage last night. What are your thoughts on this? So again, we'll cover a lot of the war footage and a lot of the war stuff happening on Acre Geopolitics at 7 p.m. tonight, where we'll talk about all of this stuff. We'll talk about Erica Kirk and her beauty pageants and the Epstein files. We'll talk about all of the things that you're not supposed to. We'll talk about Lindsey Graham, the warmonger. We'll talk about China and how they're stealing all of our data. We'll talk about all of it. We'll talk about Israel. We'll talk about all of it. So with that being said, what do you guys think of everything going on with the war right now? What do you guys think of everything going on with all of it? Are you guys pro-Iran war? Are you guys anti-Iran war? I'm obviously against the Iran war. It does not benefit the United States to be in this war. It doesn't benefit us economically or in any way. It doesn't make America great again. It doesn't bring the American power to our country. It actually makes things more difficult, more expensive for America. So that's kind of my take on it. With that being said, be sure to like,